Hello guys, this is the second part of my ultimate AI guide, which means I'm covering here snipers, splashers, supports and tanks, which means I will talk about all bots that I didn't talk about in the first part of my video. So if you've watched the first part, you know the drill. So let's just get to it, and before we do that, again, consider subscribing to my channel, it will help me greatly. So yeah, let's go. We are starting with snipers, and the first sniper I'm covering here is Bigshot. I think that it's a very simple AI here, because I've marked two abilities as unviable. So I think that it's not very good to get movement speed for Bigshot, especially that you can get that upgrade which makes him teleport on shooting, but really it's important to see how good the other option is. The stun on enemies, like 100% chance for 1 second, is very good because you can interrupt enemy abilities even with that. And if not, it's just so good because if you attack multiple targets, you have like a multiple stun on just basic attack, which is great. And again, this option, I mean, health is quite good because he's squishy. On the other hand, it's just so good to hit multiple enemies in a row, especially like if you crit or something, it just destroys the entire battlefield. So I feel like it's quite just, you should always get both of these first A options. So generally we are left with only two choices for this guy. And this choice makes him much safer because he can teleport around as he uses his ultimate. This option is just really crazy as well, because you know what, and these crits of Bigshots can just turn the tides of the battle like so easily. So it's really up to you what you choose. I think that it's a pretty hard option. Here we have, like, you know, either attack range, which makes him again safer, and this makes him riskier. So this is like a giga chat build, you know, it's just so much damage and you risk a lot, but if it works out, it's great. It's more of a safer build on the other hand. So yeah, it's up to you. That was Bigshot, and well, let's get to the next bot, which is Chomp. Chomp is one of the few bots where I marked almost all choices as red, and there is only one choice really. So I've decided that this isn't very good and this isn't very good, and this is also not quite strong. So I don't know why developers made these choices here really. I feel like it's the bottom, the B path is like a tank path, but I don't see how Chomp works as a tank at all. For me, it doesn't really work. These are all defensive choices, and the only choice I've left out is the B, because that healing really comes in handy. But overall the build should go like this. So full A, we've got damage increase, we've got range increase. The other option of movement speed is also good actually. So I perhaps should have left this as green as well, because, you know, movement speed is decent, he's not very fast, he could run away better and position better, but range also makes that, so it should be C really, like you can choose either, but it's fine, you know. And the last two options should be A in my opinion. I mean, if you want, you can get this, but outside of that, it should be like that. So a very simple AI, and I'm happy about that. Let's get to the next bot, which is Longshot. I'm sure a lot of you love Longshot. However, again, there is something with snipers, I don't know. I've marked 3 abilities here as unviable. And this means that the health isn't very viable, and the railgun recharge as well as the electric field cooldown. And I must admit, these abilities aren't bad. I think that just the counterparts are so much better that you should just always get them. So let's take a look. Here we have a 20% crit chance. It's so much better than health, like crit is so essential for Longshot. Then we have the basic attack damage increase, also great. Finally, we have the railgun starts 50% charge. While it's not very good, I mean, the railgun has a very long wind up. I feel like sometimes the basic attack is just better than the ultimate on Longshot. Still, the other option is just so bad. Electric field isn't a bad ability at all, but this cooldown, I don't feel like it's so important. So we are left out with only one choice when it comes to this bot, which is A. Either we go for a safer option, which is increase of range, or we reduce range but we increase the damage. I've decided that I'm scared and I went for the A option. To be honest, I think you should go for the B option. The game is all about the damage, and I often feel like Longshot has not enough damage for me, so I'm going to even change it right now, you know? Why not? I feel like Longshot should do more damage. And yeah, because whenever I use him in my danger zones, he's always like, where is your damage, Longshot? What's up? And you know, there is also Supercharge Chaos Translocator. I think this is a better build. So yeah, this was all about Longshot, and let's get to Pupil. This is one of the bots that sadly I didn't get to even try out, but I love the idea of Pupil, and I really promise you that I'm going to upgrade him to level 20 and test him out. However, I still see him in the battles as he performs, and also I can see his AI, so let's just see how he works. When it comes to Pupil, I feel like I don't have to even play him to really understand his AI. So all of his choices are correct, and as you could see on the picture, there are two really distinct paths you can take. The first path is the full damage path, so we go for the charge faster, the damage increase, the immune to stun during Ultra Beam, which also increases our damage because, you know, we don't get interrupted at all. And finally, even more damage. The second option makes our bot amplify the damage that the enemy bots get from other sources. So yeah, you could go for the B to have like an insane utility when it comes to this bot. Or you can go for some hybrid, which I didn't include. You can go for the amplify, but you can increase the laser beam damage. However, remember that the damage is reduced, so you will end up with the same damage here. You can also get immune to stun, which actually will help you with that amplifying because it also won't interrupt amplifying. So you should really just think about what you need when it comes to this bot and choose something, because all abilities are really good here. This was all about snipers. Now let's get to splashers. And the first splasher is Bombee. When it comes to him, I mean, the bot in general isn't very good. I mean, his major flaw is that he knocks out himself while he detonates. So it's not a very good stuff, especially for danger zone when you lose health. But still, the AI is there and I need to tell you something about it. So I've decided that two options aren't viable here. I think that the grand entrance radius isn't as good as the damage increase, because I mean either the enemy is in one place and you get them, or they are spread and it's more reliable to have just more damage, you know? Meanwhile here, like 20% chance to stun enemy, it's decent, but I feel like you use Bombee for that giga one shot of his ultimate, right? Still, it's not a bad ability, I feel like. Stun is always good, and on basic attack, it should quite decently, you know, work for utility. Maybe I shouldn't have marked this as unviable. Still, I feel like this is a better choice if you go for Bombee. It's just a bot about exploding, right? So yeah. So we are left with two choices, which is headbutt damage increase and health increase. So I've decided that health is a bit better because you need to survive to use that ultimate if you want to use that ultimate, right? The headbutt damage increase 50% is a lot. So that's why I've left this as also a viable option, because 50% is really a lot. So it's up to you really. I mean, his health goes quite high if you choose health, especially if you choose it 2 times. And if you don't choose health 2 times, I feel like he can get knocked out pretty fast. So yeah, it's up to you. And as you can see, this is my build. So I've went here, and there I would choose probably fusion reactors. So yeah, you can choose whatever you want when it comes to third and third option. I mean, the final option is also quite up to you, but I've decided that this is a bit better. And yeah, this is Bombee, quite a simple AI, I feel like. Now let's get to the next splasher, which is Lobbie. Lobbie has quite a few options there, because I've decided that only this isn't very viable. I mean, you generally want more health for Lobbie because he's so squishy, and movement speed isn't going to help him against a ranged enemy. So yeah, I think it's just much better option here. Generally, I feel like the 2 bot pack power is also better, but if you go for some specific combo and you need to get the timing right, the pre-charged ability is also very good. So these are my 2 builds that I've showed you on the picture, which would be the full bottom build, which I would use. I don't have it currently spec'd, it's more of like a hybrid build right now, but if I had to reset my abilities here, I would go for full B build. So orb damage, vortex stuns enemies, health increase, as well as that juicy 2 bot pack power, which is really versatile what you can do with that bot pack power, right? If you go for a combo, you can choose A for the second option and A for the final option. But if your combo doesn't need to have a perfect timing, I think that power link is still better. That's why in the picture you saw that it's B here as well. So yeah, this was about Lobbie, and the next splasher is Mort. When it comes to Mort, I really feel like every choice you can make in this bot is quite decent. However, this is exactly the build I've presented you on the picture, and as you can see, I decided to go for the 2 bot pack power, for the super shell damage increase, because it's very good for the combos instead of the damage for the basic attack. I've decided to go for more duration of vortex, because it's really short when you choose this one. And well, the final choice is really up to you. If you think that the battle will be longer, then you should perhaps choose B here, but I myself chosen A. It's quite good to have this on the start, and it's especially that I've took the super shell damage increase. So yeah, and it's also better for the combos. So I generally think that this is the build I would recommend, but to be honest, you can go with whatever for this build, really. So yeah, this was Mort, and the next splasher is Pluggie. When it comes to Pluggie, I've decided that only this final option B isn't very viable. However, I still chose it in the second build because health, I mean, Pluggie has pretty decent health. I have him on only level 10, so don't look at the health here. But I feel like he's quite tanky for a splasher, so it's not a bad choice. And well, my general thoughts when it comes to this bot is that the bottom path is more of a tanky path, and the top path is more of like a damage dealer path. And I really looked at it and thought about it, and I've decided to recommend you my build, which goes like that. We go for the alt charge, so ultimate starts 50% charged. Then we go for the range, and for the electric shock. That has chance to stun is the defensive ability of Pluggie. Finally, we go for the chain lightning damage increase, so it's obvious that it's like a better choice, I would say, because the damage increase is really that important. I've decided that the bounce distance 25%, I mean the base distance is good enough, so I think that it's better just to have that initial range. And the percentage is even higher here, so yeah, it's just a higher number, you know. When it comes to the first option, it's really not that obvious. I mean, the 50% charge at the start is pretty good, but that 35% energy damage is also quite decent, so yeah, consider that as well. Well, this was all about Pluggie, and the next bot we have here is Rocketeer. When it comes to Rocketeer, the stuff is quite simple here. So first of all, the bottom path is like a damaged focused path. Meanwhile, the top path is more like an evader path. It has a lot of escape tools and utility. And well, I've decided that all options are equally decent, so you can choose really whatever you want and it should be fine enough. Still, the first build I showed you is the hybrid build, and you see him as well here. I've decided that better stun is quite good, and then I went for the full damage here. You can use this build I'm using, but you can also opt in for full evader build. I've seen people talking about it and using these abilities, and they said that it is quite good. So maybe it's decent, I'm not sure. But you can also go for the full damage, it's fine as well. So yeah, this is one of the bots that has like all of his AI is pretty good, and there is really not choices that would force you into one option. So yeah, this was about Rocketeer, and the final bot of splashers is Sheller. When it comes to Sheller, I've decided that the first two options aren't very viable when it comes to B options, so Shell Shock starts fully charged as well as health increase. Sheller is extremely squishy, so that health increase seems big, but mind damage increase is just so much better because 25% doesn't seem like much. However, the base damage of these mines is so high that it's actually sizable difference. So even though it's quite scary to have such low health without fortitude, I would risk it and get that mine damage. Here I also think that it's better to have faster start of that mine cluster instead of shell shock. However, you might consider actually shell shock if you are going for some combo. And well, mine cluster really disrupts your own combos. So yeah, make sure to think about that. Perhaps this choice will be better for you. And it also makes Sheller quite safe. So yeah, consider this as well. This is a really tough choice, but it really comes down to the fact if you want to go full damage or like fight disruption stance as well as slows. So I showed you in my example builds that the top path is for full damage and the bottom path is for like disrupting the fight. So choose what you will. Personally, I go for the damage, obviously. This was all about Sheller and it's also the last splasher bot. Now I talk about the supports. And the first support will be Beat. First of all, Beat, all of his options are quite decent, and the A path, so the top path, is more of a utility path. When it comes to B, so the bottom path, it's more of like a brawler, a solo playstyle, like a, a fighter path. And it's really simple to tell what you want. If you go for combos, go for the A path, for the utility path. It increases the effectiveness of his like inspire ability, which is pretty important. But if you don't plan to use Beat on combos, just go for the bottom path, so for the B path. It will make him much tankier, especially thanks to that fortitude. But you can also go for the hybrid build, and I'm currently using a hybrid build. I generally have 3 points into this brawler path and only 1 point when it comes to that. I really like the stun, and I've decided that the stun duration is really important to have. So this is my hybrid build. I recommend it, but I can also recommend the top path build and the bottom path build. So yeah, this was about Beat, and the next support is Gusto. When it comes to Gusto, well, in general, I think that this bot isn't very good. However, there is still also some issues when it comes to his AI. I've decided that I am going to mark 3 abilities as unviable, which means the move speed, health increase, as well as bigger push on his defensive ability blowback. The reason is generally that the counterparts are just better. So we have the hard damage increase, which is better than the move speed. Also like an amplification of damage for enemies hit by hurl. And here we have exactly the same when it comes to his defensive ability. Here it's kinda hard to choose. Because he doesn't do much damage at all, so you might as well pick that. He will be safer, I guess, this way, and 30% chance isn't bad. So yeah, generally you should go for a full A build. Just think whether you should pick B or A when it comes to the second option. And well, it's generally that, only that when it comes to Gusto. Not much to talk about when it comes to this bot. Pretty bad bot, in my opinion. I haven't found a use for him yet, so it's just that. Maybe in the future some other bot will have some crazy synergy with this bot. So yeah, in general, that's it about Gusto. And the next bot we have here is Halo. When it comes to Halo, I've decided that the health increase for him isn't very good. It would make him have actually like close to 10,000 health, which is quite good, I must admit, especially for like a ranged support. But I feel like that 2 bot pack power is just so good, it's so versatile, that it's really hard to justify not getting it. 2 bot pack power is crazy good, I must admit. And if you use like Lobbie or Mort with him, it can be like 4 or even 6 bot pack power at the very start, which is just crazy. But when it comes to his builds, I've decided that there are 2 main paths to get here. And well, Halo has both boosting bubble and shielding bubble, and AI reflects that. So there is booster AI, which means that you go for the bottom path, and this is honestly up to your choice. The second option doesn't matter that much. Both are pretty equal, but in my opinion the top path is a bit better. And when you want to shield your ally, you can go for the top path, so like full A path. So again, quite a simple bot there, and we go to the next one. And the next and final bot for supports is Tether. When it comes to Tether, I've decided that only one of his abilities isn't very good. I mean, not abilities, but AI, obviously, AI choices. I think that the Leech ultimate, I've tested it, I was so crazy happy about this, and when I've tested it, I saw that this enemy ultimate drain is very short and very tiny. You shouldn't pick it ever, I think. This is much better because it's 30% more damage, and the grasp and group hack last for quite a while, so it's just much better. The top choices bring you more damage, which is quite weird because the bot doesn't deal damage at all, basically, even with this AI. And the bot choices are utility as well as safety. And generally it's more safety, so we have health here, immune to slow, and movement speed. In my opinion, the bot isn't very good as of now. So yeah, the bot just isn't that strong, and your AI choices shouldn't matter that much here. Still, I've decided to bring you some example builds. So the first build is full damage, and I go full A, full top, except the last choice, which is B, so it looks exactly like you see. You can also opt in for the safest build, which is the bot path. And finally, the safe build, but we get some utility in form of that group hack cooldown reduction. And this is the final AI for supports, which means that we get now 2 tanks. When it comes to Barrie, I've decided that his AI choices are all kind of good, you know, so there is no unviable choices. I marked the last choice, so the 4th choice. There is no choice when it comes to 5th upgrade. Well, this is just up to your preference. If you want to make him like more resistant in melee combat, I think that armor plating will be better. But if you feel like you want to make him tank ranged bots, which usually use energy damage, then the A choice here will be better. When it comes to first 3 choices, the top options are for the tank, and the bottom options are for the brawlers. You can see that the Barrie does much more damage with this option, as well as this one, which reflects some damage. Personally, I would recommend you go for the top path, so the full tank build I've showed in the picture. The brawler path seems a bit weird, so the bottom path, I haven't tested it, and well, I just assume that the tank for Barrie will be just better, you know. So yeah, that's it. It's a simple, very simple bot, and he has a very simple AI. So let's get to the next bot, which is Berserker. Berserker brings us the damage and brawling potential when it comes to his B AI, as well as some utility when it comes to his A AI. The only option that I've decided is pretty bad is the first option B, move speed increase instead of health increase. For me the health is just much better, you know. Then, as I said, here we have immobilize for 2 seconds, a reduction of the physical damage, as well as stun duration increase. The stun is quite long with this upgrade, so a lot of utility when it comes to A. And B is more damage focused. You have quicker cooldowns, increase of the punch damage, and increase of the slam damage, so the ultimate damage. Just whatever you want. I've got 2 example builds for him on the picture, so yeah, that's about Berserker. And let's now talk about Bullwark. When it comes to Bullwark, well, you could easily tell that again, A path, the top path is more of a damage path, while the bottom path is more of a utility path. The only choice that I don't really dig is the slow enemies on punch. It's decent if you go for utility, but overall I think that punch damage is just better, you know. So I've decided to prepare a few builds for you. First all-arounder build is for me like only A options, you know. He's decent, but he's also quite fast. He doesn't have the ultimate on impact. However, he has chasing potential, he has 15 speed, so he can really position well. This choice in each build is up to you. Personally, I prefer health increase because if Bullwark is stunned, he doesn't use his shield, so it's just more reliable. If you use stun reductions, I think that the power reroute might be good as well. Then there is a utility build, so it looks like that, but I've opted into increased shockwave stun as well as instant shockwave. Final build is the full damage build, so it's A here, the damage, here the damage, as well as instant shockwave. So yeah, 3 builds for you to choose from. And obviously you can do anything, just I guess avoid this one, unless you for some reason really want to make a Bulwark like a chaser bot. I'm not sure, maybe it's decent like that, who knows. But yeah, this is about this bot, and the next bot is beloved by everyone, I guess, Chainer. And the Chainer is the only bot that I've got like 4 options marked as unviable. So there is only one build really that I feel is viable for this bot. And this is the build you see right there. So the first 2 options give us better cooldowns and stuns on the single target ability of Chainer, which is Chain. He grabs one enemy bot and pulls him, and you can upgrade this ability. In my opinion, his ultimate, which is multi-chain, so he grabs everyone in his range, is just so much better that you shouldn't pick this one chain like ever, I feel like. So yeah, this is the reason I've decided these options aren't good. Finally, we've got Ground Slam Area. So Chainer has this basic attack which deals damage in area, and you can either increase the damage or increase the range of this damage. And I feel like he has enough range because he already pulls these bots to himself. So I've decided that the damage increase is just better, you know. And finally, I mean that Ground Slam Slow might be good if you are using like a combo with Flamer, for example, so they don't run away from the flame field as fast. However, this is often so good for any combo, and you want to multi-chain enemies as fast as possible, so again I feel like this is the preferred choice. So this is Chainer, although an iconic bot, I believe. Well, his AI is very simple and like the only time where there is really not that much choice when it comes to the choices, right? So yeah, this is about Chainer, and the next bot is Noozle. Noozle brings you either a tankiness or a lot of utility in terms of stuns. And I've decided that all of his choices are quite decent and viable. The A choices generally are responsible for tankiness, while the B choices for utility. So the tank build would get a health increase. The second option really isn't about tankiness in either like choice, yeah, so it doesn't really matter what you pick. If you want to go for a tank, I've decided to get more damage. Then you have increased chance to hide, which is very good for tankiness, and reduction of physical damage. But if you want to go for more of a utility build, you get here reductions of cooldowns, as well as slows, and well, the stun duration, which is very important. You can also go for any hybrid you want, so you can go A, and for example B, like I showed you in the picture I've made. So yeah, this is about Noozle. I don't think there is much to talk about here, so let's go to the next bot. And the final ever bot, it's pretty funny because we have started in the first part with Ram, and now we are ending on Thump. Yes, the next bot is Thump, and the final bot, and well, it's also the bot you can get as a starter, and it's pretty funny, we started with a starter and we are ending with a starter as well. Thump follows the same path as many other bots in the game, so he has like 2 paths, and A is responsible for being a brawler, fighting by himself, also amplifying the damage. It's generally damage focused, and some stuns as well. If you choose the bottom path, you will survive for a long time with this Thump. So it's up to you really to tell, because I don't judge if any of these builds is better. And after looking closely at these bots, I've decided that really all choices are viable, so you can also make any hybrid you want. For example, I think that if I had to reset and do a hybrid build, I would probably keep all of this stuff here, but I would go for the 20 health juicy increase. He has already quite a lot of health, but it only gets better with that 20%. So this is another example of a build you can do here. Okay guys, finally, if I helped you in any way, if you liked that content, well, consider subscribing. I will keep posting more videos. So yeah, stay tuned and well, see you next time.